There's been a bunch of videos on TikTok showing that when you put strawberries into salt water, different type of bugs and worms are coming out of them. And just to show you here, this one has some type of caterpillar. This one has some kind of big worm that I don't know that you needed salt water to see that. And this one seems to have a baby slug. But for the most part, I think these are over-exaggerated and probably a bunch of BS, like this one that claims a house centipede was in her strawberries. Sorry, but this is not the type of bugs that typically come out of strawberries, but more out of their hopes for getting a lot of views. Now, there are typical bugs that can come out of strawberries that I'll tell you about, but all that being said, I never eat strawberries for a far more toxic reason than any bugs that could be in there. As far as the bugs go, although disgusting, they can't actually harm you in any way. That is number one, according to common sense, because anyone who's ever eaten a lot of fruit knows that fruit flies and other things can go on your fruit. And they're either doing one of two things. They're either laying eggs or eating it. Either way, you don't really want them on there, but it's a fact of nature. And also, if you go to Southeast Asia, you'll see them eating all kinds of different bugs as a tradition, like we eat hot dogs here, which is far worse for you than that. But also, according to experts who say that there are no studies that found bugs in fruit are harmful for human consumption. That being said, since most people who do eat strawberries probably don't want to be eating bugs or worms or anything else, so I thought I'd give it a whirl to see what I could find. First, I tried a typical brand of conventional strawberries. And if you don't know, conventional means it has all the pesticides a farmer could throw at it. I put the salt, the water, a new strawberry that I got at a local supermarket, waited for the 30 minutes that it typically takes, and nothing. I left it there for another few hours, added more salt, and more nothing. So with all the pesticides in conventional strawberries, I figured that wasn't much of a surprise. So I tried it with organic and did the same. Salt, water, strawberries, 30 minutes, and lo and behold, nothing. So I added more salt, more time, like 2 hours, and still nothing. Now understand that this isn't any kind of controlled study. I'm just one guy who bought a couple of types of strawberries and put them in salt water, just like all those other videos were the same thing. So if you are eating strawberries, I would welcome you to do the same thing with your brands of strawberries. And that's not to say that there's no bugs in there, because I'm not a tiny bug expert. But the typical bugs that can be found in strawberries are these small white ones called the spotted wing Drosophila, or SWDs. These are an invasive species from East Asia that infests berry crops and has been in the USA since 2008. That is according to entomologist Sri Lanka Lahiri at the University of Florida. And they're tiny whitish worms that are actually maggots of the fly. Surprise, vegetarians? But as mentioned, there is no harm that can come to you from eating them. That is the worms. The reason I never eat strawberries is because they're on the top of the list of the dirty dozen every year. These are fruits that have the most pesticide residue in them. And since they're all skin and don't have a shell like an avocado or a banana, you're eating them all. And yes, they're all toxic for you. And unlike most fruits, according to this article, strawberry growers rely on some of the riskiest and hardest to control pesticides used in agriculture. And even organic strawberries have exposure to pesticides or are grown in conventional soils. And that's because in California, where almost all of strawberries are from, they start in a strawberry nursery, which are all conventional, according to this article linked below, and brought to organic farms to mature to mimic the winter growth phase. In addition to being all skin, the biggest problem are these seeds that are on the outside make an indent in the strawberry, making a perfect place for chemicals sprayed on them to gather. Now, if you listen to this channel, you always hear me say to eat organic. And that's because there's a lot of evidence showing that these chemicals can cause a variety of health problems, like this study, showing multiple types of cancer are associated with pesticide exposure, and that children and pregnant women's exposure to pesticides were positively associated with cancers. And there are many others. And I'll have those linked for you below. But on a simpler level, if you think about it, the pesticides that you eat are going to kill all of your gut bacteria. And that's going to cause all type of problems for you physically and mentally. So it's really something you want to avoid. And yes, the organic is way better than the conventional, so I would suggest those if you're going to eat them. And you can soak them in a salt water solution. It's basically salt in some water for 5 to 30 minutes, and that will help get some of the pesticides off as well. And you could do this with baking soda, white vinegar, and my favorite, which is apple cider vinegar. And I'll have the ratios for that in the blog associated with this video. And I'll have that link below along with my seminars that can help you get your health in order, mind, body, and spirit. So for more videos on health and wellness related to mind, body, and spirit, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, like, share with your friends, and all that good stuff. Hope this was helpful for you. Good luck.